What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gersh1.
And today we're back to answer more questions from you guys in another installment of For the Greater
WAAAGH. This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And as you guys can see, we are out in the beautiful weather that is... what is it, like 69 right now?
It better be.
We're just enjoying the weather, and we wanted to record outside, so...
Pardon the French hens.
Yes.
There's a few of them running around.
The tweedling and the twaddling of the birds.
Mm-hmm.
So this question comes from All Might. Also the lawnmower. I think I hear a lawnmower in the back. Anyways, this question comes from All Might. What's one thing that you would... Or what's one thing that you know is bad for you, but you never stop doing it? Good question.
Man. Do I really need to bust out the Santa Claus list?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that us wargamers do that we really shouldn't do.
Yeah, I think the one that really hurts more so yourself than GW is buying a bunch of kits all at once.
Yep.
When you're starting an army, you're giddy, you're excited to get into the hobby, and you just start buying this model, that model, troops, HQs, and the pile will be so big that eventually you'll go home and you'll lose motivation and you'll have a bunch of plastic shame.
Yep, it's a pile of shame, and usually that happens, like you said, when somebody gets super hyped and just starts buying things, especially when, like, because I'm guilty of buying box sets. So when Blackstone Fortress came out, I bought it, never played it. Models are amazing, but haven't painted them. And then also with Kill Team came out, bought that. The terrain looked awesome, didn't paint it. Still sitting in my pile of shame, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely buying things and then not following through with the project is the top. Yeah. I think.
I'd say at most maybe get 2-3 is kind of pushing it, because once you get what I do is I get a box set, I build what's in it, and then I look at it and it's like, I'm not gonna paint it.
Yeah.
So then I get the next box set and do the same.
Yeah. And then moving on, another thing that wargamers do, and you mentioned this before, is like buying paintbrushes and glue from GW, where you could just get it super cheap at the hobby store.
Right.
It's pointless to spend. How much is glue? Like,
I mean,
$7 maybe
at the GW store.
Yeah.
Around there.
Yeah.
Or you could get super glue at like Walmart for like
for
$1.
$1. Yeah. So yeah, buying really expensive products that you don't really need. That's a big one.
Another big one is the one that you mentioned, and that's get deodorant, guys. Like, I know now most of the hobby stores are like either just available to go in, buy, and leave. You can actually hobby there. But depending on the size of your store and how many people are actually playing a game and sitting and painting, if you don't have deodorant on, if you guys don't shower, it's going to be a little smelly.
Yep.
Trust me, I know, because I used to go to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and man,
Yu-Gi-Oh's worse.
Yeah.
Because you're nervous that you're gonna lose.
Yeah, you're nervous. There's too many people in the space you're at. It's crammed. You're uncomfortable, and there's a lot of sweaty tryhards, and that makes for quite the aroma.
Right. If you guys have other things that wargamers do that they shouldn't, let me know what it is in the comment section below, and we can probably come back to this one.
Yeah, real quick though, I want to know your guys' opinion on being like a rules lawyer.
Oh yeah.
Because there's good things and then there's bad things. Because obviously you're here to play the game and you're trying to make it competitive but still a good time. And if you're that guy who's like nitpicking rules, double measuring, like, oh, you went over 1/4 of an inch too far in your movement phase, it's like, at what point does that stop being trying to help the game out, trying to help the player, to just being overly like obsessive?
Yeah, and I think it's up to the group that you're playing with. Like, let's say like that guy, that rules lawyer is going to your hobby store. I think it's up to the actual hobby store, the people who go there, to be like, hey, we don't want this type of culture within this space.
Like, we want to be more casual than like super hyper competitive.
Yeah, and then get him out, kick him out.
But then at the same time, maybe try to improve him, like just saying like, yeah, you're right, but like we're just playing for fun.
Yeah.
Or obviously if it's a tournament, then I guess that could be more of his thing.
Yeah.
Her thing, their thing.
Because I do think that like no owner of a GW store would be like, you know what, don't do that or stuff like that. It has to be the people who go there.
Right.
Yeah.
This next one is by Luis Gonzalez. Do you guys like Legos? And if so, would you support it if GW got with Lego and made a Lego version of 40K to maybe appeal to a younger audience in an attempt to draw more to the universe?
I've never really been into Legos like all that much. I don't think I would buy a Lego set because I never bought the Funko Pops either.
Yeah, I feel like whenever it involves 40K, don't spend your money on anything else but the models and like the tools needed to play the game.
Right.
40K is already expensive enough. Buying supplements that you're not really going to use or enjoy long term, I'd say it's a pass for me.
What's interesting is that if like you end up buying the Legos, you could just proxy the Legos for the actual minis, and I wonder if it would be cheaper.
Yeah, because I mean they're already pre-painted.
Yeah.
You just got to build them.
Yep.
I wonder if they'd be true to scale also. Because it's like, well, why am I going to spend, $60, $70 for a Land Raider when I could just buy this Lego set for like $40 and have it cheaper?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
This next one is by All Might. What are your guys' thoughts on the GW fan animation thing that's going on right now? So I'm not 100% sure like what the details are, but basically GW is doing to a lot of fan animators what they did with the Astartes team, when they're basically saying, hey, we're not coming after you, but could you take off your video from YouTube and maybe they'll offer them like a job or something to have that fan animation be displayed on like the Warhammer website.
Yeah, but who have they done that to?
I think it was, well, for sure it's the Astartes guys because they actually work with GW, Hell's Reach, Richard Boylan, and I think they've done it to a few smaller ones. I want to say Soda's was the most recent one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like we don't like the content, take it off type of thing. It's more of a, we like the content, we want you to do it for us.
Right. It seems like they're trying to protect their IP. It's not like they're suing people or like threatening people with like cease and desist notices.
Yeah.
So it's they could have done that, but they're doing the alternative.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like I get it, I understand, but at the same time, it's like, don't you want more people to know of your IP?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I for one have never seen the Astartes on the GW channel. Right. It was always on YouTube, and it's like, it's just more effort, more steps to see this awesome animation by going to the GW website than it is to just type it in on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like they're kind of hurting themselves in terms of like more people seeing it, but I get it.
The cool thing is that you do, because like then that means that Astarte and fan animations like Astarte become kind of canon, because you have to abide by the rules set by the lore of GW.
Right.
You can't just like bust out female space marines, and because you're a really badass animator, that might like completely like can you imagine if the Astarte guys did come out with a female space marine? You're completely changing the lore of 40K. So I understand why GW would want to step in and be like, hey. Yeah.
Because like I said, if a lot of people are watching that Astartes thing, like it got millions of views. Yeah. You got people that don't even know what Warhammer is reacting to it. And it's like, yeah, if they see female space marines, they're going to think that's the norm. And it's like GW's like, whoa, no, we got to step in.
Yeah. Or they'll bring back Malice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just hope they bring back my dad.
He left.
Yeah. Bunny Hop. Between fights, what do orcs do? I mean, do they even sleep?
I don't know if they sleep or not, but I do have a 40 Facts video on what they do on their free time, and mostly it's like brawls. Like think of it as like just going into a really rowdy bar, except the entire tribe is that way. Look, a wasp.
But it also depends on the orc too. Like if they're a Big Mac, then obviously they're going to be tinkering with like machines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gretchen and Squigs, they don't just always fight. Like they tussle.
Sometimes they argue.
Yeah.
What is cool about like talking about orc tribes is that it's very diverse in terms of the quantity or the different types of squigs, the Gretchen, and the snotlings, because we can't forget about the snotlings.
So I always forget about the snotlings.
So it's just like on TikTok I've been seeing like these videos of like, I think it's in Australia, where they lift up, like it's a farm and they lift up like the hay bales or whatever, and then just a ton of rats, like rats everywhere. And that's what I picture snotlings being like in an orc tribe, where like the Big Mac lifts up a scrap pile or something, and then just a ton of little like Gretchen snotlings running everywhere.
That'd be scary, man.
Yeah, trying to bite you and kick you and stuff. But yeah.
So then, what's the difference between a Gretchen, a Grot, and a snotling?
So it's if you want to break it down, it's like the orc is at the top, then comes the Gretchen. The Gretchen are actually pretty intelligent, and they do most of the day-to-day activities. So like feeding, growing mushrooms, making sure that like the vehicles are like where they're supposed to be, things like that. And then you have the Grots, which are just smaller Gretchen who get bullied by the bigger Gretchen. But it's almost interchangeable. Like they're almost the same thing. They're just, think of it like a knob and an orc boy kind of situation.
So for orc culture, size does matter.
Very much so. And then you have the snotlings. And the snotlings are very animalistic, and they're just kind of like rats.
But they still look like Gretchen?
Yeah, like mini Gretchen. And Gretchen wear clothes, snotlings don't.
That's funny.
They're just naked all the time. I'd like to think of them too as like the Keebler elves, except instead of making cookies, they want to kill each other.
So it's like you have trolls, like garden gnomes, and then Keebler elves.
Right. Maybe.
That's scary.
It'd be like that.
This one is by Timothy Armstrong. Is there any lore on how the Primarchs were when they were babies and when they got to their home worlds and how they grew up?
Some of them.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you check out our 40 facts on the origin of Sanguinius, you get to see, or you briefly get an explanation of how he was as a child. An angelic child that was just very, what is it called? Vibrant or whatever. He seemed like a mutant, but at the same time, he was almost godly. And it's a similar situation with most of the Primarchs.
Right. A lot of times their whole like personality is shaped by like the world they were put in.
Yeah.
And it's almost interesting to see like what the inverse of that would be. Like imagine if Lehman Russ was put on like the gladiatorial world where Angron was.
Yeah.
Would he have gone to chaos also?
All right. Also keep in mind that within a year, I think most of the Primarchs were already like adults.
Yeah. So
they had a huge boost in terms of their growth and stuff. And they were smarter and just better at everything else. Elias Ravanati says, Safe Moon! Yes, Safe Moon. It's up. It's up and it's up and it's up.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I think, what did she say? It's up when it's not. She says something else. The crazy thing about Safe Moon that I didn't know, and this is just like interesting tidbit. I thought there was an infinite amount of Safe Moon. There isn't. There's just a lot of it. And every time you sell, a percentage of that gets burned away. So even if we stay at a low market cap, which means that like the volume or the amount of money that is put into Safe Moon stays around the same price, because people are buying and selling, just the natural process of the market, Safe Moon is going to continue to go up, which is crazy to me. I didn't think about that.
That really is safe.
Safe. Next question.
This one's by Kaiser Seraphim. Is it possible that the Chaos Gods are the Old Ones? Because the Old Ones were pure energy beings and they became Chaos Gods after the war in heaven.
So, I would say maybe, but because of the fact that like I think Isha, Cain, I think they were Old Ones at one point.
Right.
and like the worship of those individuals turned into the actual avatars or the actual gods inside the warp. However, with the old ones, it's a bit different because, I mean, the codex actually says that they are
flesh and blood. Like, yeah.
They coalesced from the emotions, not an actual person.
Right.
Yeah. Next question.
This one is by... It's not a question, but it's just funny. Tungusta Lumberjack says, going unbound? That's what I call going commando.
Yep. It feels like that sometimes.
Yeah, because it's like going unbound, you're not playing with command points. And it's like you're just wild and out there.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with the zipper, though.
Yeah. It can get stuck.
This one, so in this For the Greater Wall, we were talking about the whole pre-painted minis and what you would do with that. And this guy says that, the Joker Lives says that, one of the main reasons that I stopped playing is because I feel like I'm being ripped off buying unpainted, unassembled miniatures. In my opinion, the biggest barrier of entry and the worst part of GW product is that. What do you think?
No, because that is like a big part of the hobby that you need to
realize that 40K isn't just playing the game.
Right.
If that was the case, then yeah, they would come out with pre-painted, pre-built minis to play the game quicker. But the whole thing of 40K is the lore, the painting, the modeling. There's more than just the game itself of 40K.
Yeah. Also, you just have to look at the fact that we've been in 9th edition for how long? Probably a year, right? Or more.
Roughly, yeah.
And we still don't have all the codex. Or codices, codicize.
Codexes.
But then that goes to show you that, like, GW is the amount of attention that they put to the actual game is secondary to the actual models.
Definitely. When you look at the GW website, you don't see a lot of like rules and stuff like that. You see more models getting revealed.
Right.
And with that comes the rules.
Right.
So for them, they're trying to sell the models first, then the game.
Yeah. And then always, like, it does create a really cool market where you could have, like, your painting companies to step in and be like, hey, if you don't like this part, then I can do it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that puts so much more creativity into the game.
Yeah.
Because then if you're playing Ultramarines against Ultramarines, they're not going to be an exact cookie cutter, like same pose, same stuff like that. You might have different shades and stuff like that. So it adds a little bit more variety to it.
Yep. But yeah. Next question.
This one is by... No, we already did that one. Only Imperious. With the Emperor's return, he leads the Imperium to victory. The Great War is over. To celebrate, he decides to host a rock concert at the Imperial Palace. But he has to make a band with his Primarchs. So, who would play what? The band needs a drummer, a bass, a guitar, a keyboard, and a vocalist.
I think the drummer would probably be Angron, just because he makes me think of that one drummer from the Muppets.
What's Monster?
His name? Yeah, Monster.
I don't know what his name is, but he looks like a monster.
Or Animal or something like that.
Yeah.
What else?
So we got the drummer. What about the bass? I feel like that'd be like Lionel Johnson.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then we got the guitar.
I think that'd be Fulgrim.
I could see that.
Yeah. Vocalist.
Vocalist. Who's got the prettiest voice?
Sanguinius. He has an angelic voice.
And then let's finish it off with the keyboard/synth player.
Obviously, that's like technology. So it's either going to be Perturabo or Iron Hands Man. What's his name?
Ferrus Manus.
Ferrus Manus. Yeah.
And then he says the opening song is going to be Immigrant Song by Zeppelin.
Yeah. That's the one that goes like... And then like you... There was a guy, I think in Florida, where they were having a hurricane and he was holding the flag.
Oh, that's what that's from?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Good question, though.
Yeah.
Next one.
Nico Tugas. Depending on the price of the models in the box set, could you see the Beast Snagga Ork models replacing the older Ork models on the tabletop, since you are able to make the Beast Snaggas any Ork warband you want? P.S. I'm planning on getting this for my friend who's considering getting into the hobby and starting Orks.
Damn, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Buy me the thing.
This box set really is great for any starter if you want to play Orks, because you have troops, you've got an HQ, you've got fast attack, and you got the codex in there. The 9th edition codex is in there, so...
I don't think it's going to replace the regular boys, because on the tabletop, a strategy that most Orc players use is to throw in your boys but with no upgrades, just because they're good wound absorption.
Yeah.
Whereas if you throw in the Snagga boys, I bet you that they're going to have like 2 wounds, they're going to be tougher and everything, but they're not going to be able to soak up as much firepower.
Right, your green tide gets reduced, basically.
Yeah.
You want to throw body oddies, not toughy uffies.
Because 9th edition is about a horde, right?
It's more about taking objectives, and it's very easy to do that with hordes.
Yeah.
You really have to play the objective game in 9th edition, because there's no kill points. Killing units don't really matter that much.
Yep.
It's all about holding objectives and keeping on them. Something that I've haven't grasped.
With your elite?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm drawn to elite armies. I don't know.
Yeah, like, that's the problem, though, with having the beast Snaggas have more wounds. Like, you think, like, okay, so it's more expensive and stuff, but it's not good. Just because you're not spreading it out through a boy squad that's 30, so that's 30 wounds. Now you have 10 that are each 2.
That's
20.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah.
I was going to say, but then look at the Primaris Marines. Why are they so good? That's because they're Marines.
Exactly. They have buffs. Like that fucking wounding on 4s. What is it called?
Transhuman physiology.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
1 command point. So you spend 1 command point and give somebody trans. Like,
right, 50-50 chance of even getting wounds.
Yeah, that's terrible, man.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
It's like Space Marines. You think they're really good, and it's like, oh, but they got doctrines on top of this. Oh, and look at these stratagems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully the Snagga boys have some type of some type of like tribe thing or something.
A stratagem specific to them.
Yeah, but we'll see. Those were the questions for today. Thank you for sending those questions our way. If you guys have more, just comment down in the comment section below. And yeah.
As always, I'm the Sound Alchemist.
Grish1.
And we are out.
Oh, I used to put my freedom first.